but it's something. And it adds to the reduced calories from the appetite taming we talked about earlier. Okay, so, and by the way, it's not just whole grains, vegetables, fruits, beans, all kinds of plant foods have fiber in them. So the more you have fiber in your foods, the more weight you're likely to lose. Okay, and the third mechanism is metabolism boosting. So let me ask you, what is the difference between you and a crocodile? Anybody? Look at that face. What is the difference between you and this deer-looking crocodile? Well, the difference, as you might know, is that if she is a little bit chilly, she can't make body heat. She's got to find a sunny patch on the beach somewhere and lie there and let the sun bake into her back to heat her up. She can't make body heat. She's cold-blooded. You are not cold-blooded. I'm in Washington, D.C., and sometimes when I lecture here, I have to change the text of this lecture a little bit, but let's say you in this audience are not cold-blooded. And what that means is you can turn food into body heat. When you eat food, you make body heat, whether it's a sunny day or not. So here's the way it works. If you come into our laboratory, you could sit in a chair, and I'll put a little mask over your nose and mouth, and I will measure how much oxygen your body is taking in. And I'll measure how much carbon dioxide you're putting out. And with some pretty simple arithmetic, I know your metabolism, how fast you're burning calories. And you're not burning calories very fast because it's 6:30 in the morning and you just got up and you haven't eaten anything. So your metabolism is low. Now I'm going to give you a meal. And your metabolism rises and it stays higher than it was before for 3 hours or more after the meal. Okay. Now, certain foods don't give you a burn. Butter, it doesn't increase your metabolism. You just absorb the fat and kind of nothing happens. But we did a study where we looked at what does increase the burn. We brought in 64 overweight women. Half of them went on a low-fat vegan diet, and the other half went on a more conventional diet drawn from the National Cholesterol Education Program. We asked people not to change their exercise patterns. It was a 14-week study. And the foods that people were encouraged to eat made them nervous because there were no calorie limits. They said you can eat pancakes and you can eat toast and you can eat linguine. No calorie limits, no carb limits, no portion limits. But the two rules are no animal products, keep oils low. And by the way, along the lines, somebody discovered that Twizzlers are vegan. Hey, I wasn't suggesting Twizzlers, but when we designed the study, the only rules were that it had to be no animal products and keep oils low. And if you look at the label on Twizzlers, they actually meet those criteria. So we couldn't rule them out, but well, anyway, every study has a funny little quirk. So our low-fat vegan Twizzler-fueled participants set off on their diet for the next 14 weeks. And what we found is they lost 13 pounds in 14 weeks. The comparison group lost about 8 pounds. Okay. So on a vegan diet without limiting calories or portions or carbs, you're going to lose weight, not quite a pound a week. But what's more important is that over the long run, the comparison group put all that weight back on over the next 2 years. But the vegan group did not. They kept the weight off long term. Okay, so part of it is because they're eating more carbs, they're eating less fat, so they're getting that appetite taming effect. But we did an interesting study. We brought in 244 people. And we did this metabolic assessment. And what we found is that after following a plant-based diet for about 4 months, their metabolism rises about 15% higher than it was before. We did the same thing in the 64 women that I mentioned earlier. Their metabolism rises. I'm talking about sitting in the same chair, eating the same test meal. You're burning calories more effectively. It's not huge. It's about a 15% increase in your after-meal calorie burn. Why does this happen? Let me share with you why it happens. This is a muscle cell. And the reason I'm showing you a muscle cell is, as you know, muscles, your muscle mass, those are your calorie burners. So in your muscles are mitochondria. And mitochondria are little burners, and you've got a lot of them. But you've got something else in your muscle cells, and that's fat. Fat. Now, doctors don't want to call it fat because that only has 3 letters and it doesn't sound scientific. So we call it intramyocellular lipid, which just means fat inside a muscle cell. Let's say I'm going to have cheese pizza. Cheese is 70% fat. And some of that fat will go to my body fat, but some of it gets into my muscle cells. Wait, there it is. The fat is getting into the muscle cell. And when that happens, the mitochondria don't like it. The mitochondria have trouble doing their thing. Mitochondrial biogenesis flags. So when you have more fat in your cells, because you've been eating more fat, your after-meal calorie burn drops. You have more trouble burning calories. Your metabolism slows down. You're going to gain weight more readily. Stop. I don't like this. Let me go back. How about if I stop eating animal products completely? There's no animal fat in my diet. And how about if I keep oils really low? Now there's not a lot of any kind of fat, and we can show that the fat content of your muscle cells diminishes, and the same thing happens in the liver. And when you start getting the fat out of your cells, your after-meal calorie burn rises. So the rise in metabolism is simply reflecting changes in the cell. Let me be clear. If you go on a plant-based diet and avoid animal products completely, and you keep oils low, your mitochondria can do better. They can burn calories more effectively. We know that for many reasons, but let me add another reason. At Pennington Biomedical Research Center in Louisiana, researchers brought in individuals, gave them a high-fat diet, 50% fat, for 3 days. And what they measured was mitochondrial biogenesis, meaning are you making the mitochondria to burn calories? And the white block is beforehand, the black block is after 3 days on a high-fat diet. And what you're doing is you're just suppressing the mitochondrial biogenesis. It just doesn't work anymore. Okay, so enjoy the foods. There are power foods that love you back. They can tame your appetite. They can take calories and trap some of them so that they're going down your digestive tract without being absorbed. They can boost your metabolism and make weight loss easy and permanent. And some of them take no time to prepare. When we did the Power Foods diet, Dustin and Lindsay came up with foods that get you out of the kitchen fast, and some of which, marked convenient, don't have you in the kitchen basically at all. You're just throwing a couple things together. Now, before we end, I do have to tell you that there are certain foods that are much worse than others for weight loss, starting with salmon. You knew this was true. A lot of people think, well, if I just eat salmon, isn't that the healthy fish? Bad news. Atlantic salmon is 40% fat. Chinook salmon is 50% fat. But it's good fat, people will say. Well, good fat has 9 calories per gram, just like bad fat. Now, how about if I have olive oil versus coconut fat? Coconut fat, they have the same number of calories per gram, but coconut oil has been really pushed a lot. People say it's, it's got that buttery mouthfeel. But if you look at coconut oil, let's also take a look at palm oil. What you discover is, gee whiz, they have a lot of saturated fat. Look at coconut oil. It's 83% saturated fat. Palm oil is about 50%, very much like beef fat. Chicken, a little lower. Salmon, a little bit better. And then you got to go out to the right to olive oil, corn oil, canola oil to get to the ones that are lower in saturated fat. Well, what this means is that coconut oil might raise your cholesterol. That's what saturated fat does. And in fact, it sure does. A meta-analysis of 16 clinical trials showed that your LDL is going to go up with coconut oil. And the same is true with palm oil. Your LDL is going to go up. Your bad cholesterol is going to rise. So if you are going to use coconut oil, don't use it in cooking. Make a candle out of it. Shine your shoes with it. Polish your car with it, or put it in your hair, but don't eat it because it is going to raise your cholesterol and it's not good for you. Now, some people will say, well, Coca-Cola, that's the cause of weight problems. But I'm going to say it might be cheese. Yep, cheese is a food that is not so great for you. That's right. If you look at animal products and plant products, They vary in fat content, don't they? The animal products are higher in fat. The plant products at the bottom are lower in fat. Where's cheese? Cheese is 70% fat. Good heavens. If it were any worse, it'd be Vaseline. And there is Coke Zero, but there is no Cheddar Zero. That's right. So how many calories does the average American eat from cheese every year? The answer is 70,000. Probably a little bit higher than that since I made this slide. Fiber is an important thing. There's fiber in beans and vegetables. And if you think about it, how much fiber could there be in cheese? Well, there's fiber in a lot of foods. Where's cheese? Is it like baked beans or more like a banana?